Hey guys, don't go anywhere. Today I'm going to be having some crazy Dinjarin fun. I'm going to be comparing 5 different Darksabers of all different features and price ranges. We've got plastic hilts, metal hilts, force effects, Galaxy's Edge, Neopixel. We got it all. Don't go anywhere. It's a little dangerous for you to hold, buddy. Maybe when you're bigger. Hey Star Wars fans, thank you so much for clicking on my video. This is Finding the Force, where I cover everything Star Wars, including Galaxy's Edge, video games, and especially lightsabers. And as always, I'll be your host, Obi-Dad Kenobi. Hello there. Yes, little one. Here, have a cookie. I know you guys are going to hit the like button. You know you're going to hit the like button, so just go ahead and click it real quick and get out of the way for us, huh? Much appreciated. Gosh, I'm already parched. I don't know about you guys, but I am loving The Mandalorian Season 3 so far. Was it Episode 3 where Din lands on Mandalore and he's checking the air? There's a real sense of adventure, flying his ship around. It really gave me the Star Wars feels in a huge way. I love the series. And furthermore, do you know what else I love? All the positivity coming from Star Wars fans. I've only met 2 kinds of people. The kind who love The Mandalorian and the weird kind who haven't even heard of it yet. It's really refreshing that so many people united either enjoy The Mandalorian or even find one small detail that they really like. And by small detail, I mean he is pretty small. My favorite Grogu animatronic. You can put things in his hands. He eats and uses the Force and stuff. I'll put a link down below just for fun. If you guys want to pick one up. He's my favorite. That's the only way I can get my daughter and my wife to watch The Mandalorian with us. It's just, they just focus on Baby Yoda and it's so darling. Every time my daughter sees Grogu, she says, "Aw, he's so cute." Everything John and Dave does is golden to me. Furthermore, before I dive into this review, the Darksaber is so mysterious and interesting and cool. Let me tell you why. Dave Filoni talking about how him and George came up with the backstory for the Darksaber, including the very first Mandalorian Jedi, and then the Darksabers kind of bounced around to different people's hands. But it's not until the Mandalorian, as we've seen the Mandalorians having a really hard time wielding the Darksaber, Dave Filoni talks about how it's kind of like the Excalibur, and that not just anybody can wield it, only the one who's truly worthy of ruling Mandalore, which gives this saber far and above the richest, most complicated backstory, and also there's no other weapon in Star Wars that has a mind of its own or only allows someone to be worthy of wielding it. But as soon as I say that, someone's going to leave a comment about some comic book I've never heard of. So if there are any other weapons who have a mind of their own, leave a comment and let me know down below. I'm kind of curious what you guys might come up with. So let's kick off this review and get started. We're going to be talking about prices, features, and let's start off with the least expensive, most easily accessible Hasbro Darksaber, $30 from Walmart, guys. My son and his friends go crazy. This is the first saber that gets picked up, let me tell you. So as you can see, it's designed off of the Darksaber they use in the Clone Wars, but there aren't major changes between the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian. But like I said, if you're a parent and you've got younglings, $30, you can't beat it, and it'll be your kid's new favorite thing. I'll show you guys here in a minute. Not only does it flicker, but it has this cool lightning lockup effect. The speaker is nice and low on the grip, so there's a pretty low chance of your younglings being able to cover this up. You know, takes easy batteries, but also I have to say Hasbro made this thing strong. This is not flimsy. This is going to, you swing this and you're gonna do some damage, so beware. But if they sell this on Amazon, I'll put a link down in the description if you want to pick one up. Carefree saber to turn your younglings or foundlings with around the house, and you don't have to worry about damaging a super expensive Star Wars collectible. Let's check it out in the dark. $30 Darksaber from Hasbro. Check that out. You guys see that? It's flickering, which is more than I can say for one of these Force FX Galaxy's Edge Darksabers, but let's not jump ahead. Okay, check this out. Not bad. I mean, for 30 bucks, that's one nice dinner out, you know? Can't forget about the clash effect. Flash on clash, and if you hold this power button down right there, check this out. Oh! Yeah, it gets all dark blue at the base. Sweet! I mean, actually pretty loud for 30 bucks, let me tell you. All right, next, we've got one of the most infuriating comparisons between Galaxy's Edge Darksaber and the Hasbro Darksaber. Everything about these is so opposite, it drives me nuts. For example, the only thing they have in common is the price. It's about $250. You can pick this up and have one shipped to your house, and this one you can pick up pretty easy. So they're both about the same price of $250, but everything else is kind of opposite with these things. For example, this one takes like AAAs. This one has a rechargeable battery. This one, Galaxy's Edge, has a belt clip. Force FX doesn't. They both come with a stand. Finally. But their blades light up very differently. I'll show you in the dark here in a minute. The Galaxy's Edge has 2 windows that light up, and the Force FX has all 4. The Galaxy's Edge blade is a bit stronger and sturdier, where the Force FX, you can kind of see, has a little wiggle to it. I feel like I didn't really emphasize that when I did my specific review of the Force FX Darksaber, that I think it has some advantages, but definitely some disadvantages. Galaxy's Edge speaker comes out of the pommel, where I think it should, for optimum volume and sound resonance. The Force FX has a pretty big flaw, in my opinion, that the speaker is right here in the center of the grip, those little slits right there. And it's very easy for your hand to cover that up and muffle it, and now you can't hear anything. Galaxy's Edge only has a clash effect, but the Force FX Elite has blaster deflect, lava tip, and clash. I have special decals that could really trick out your Galaxy's Edge Darksaber to go from a little bland to Beskar. The Galaxy's Edge saber is really easy to put the blade in and you hear a click. You can do it in 1 second. The Force FX, however, is quite a project. It requires an Allen wrench, taking the screw out, taking the entire emitter off, putting the blade in, and rinse and repeat. But if you guys are thinking about having a Galaxy's Edge or a Force FX Elite Darksaber as more of a trophy piece, I think there's one that's going to look better. Let's check them out. So if you guys are looking for an awesome display for your Darksabers, make sure to check out my buddy JSJ Forge on Etsy to pick up your own Beskar Ingot Darksaber stand. So first of all, both of these sabers look great, but if they're going to be just on your shelf, I think I believe the Galaxy's Edge here on the bottom is more accurate to the screen. Overall smaller size of the Galaxy's Edge saber does make it quite more appetizing if you're having to choose between the two. Both of them have a very glossy emitter, and I have heard some people really get kind of turned off by the fact that there are these silver screws that stick out on the larger Force FX Elite compared to the all slick black, even the blade mechanism is black on the Galaxy's Edge. And you can see the bigger hilt and design. The Galaxy's Edge does have a silver belt clip, which kind of sticks out, but I think that could be easily painted, by the way. You can see the speaker slits right there on the side, which can be unfortunately pretty easily covered up with your hand. And the Galaxy's Edge right here is only a single button, activation and operation, whereas the Force FX has an activation button and an auxiliary button. One really common complaint though about the Galaxy's Edge is this really thin black strip that is really not accurate to the Clone Wars or the Mandalorian. So I found this really great guy on Etsy. Oh, you guys gotta check this out. Unassuming title of his Etsy store is called Diego's Outdoor Goods, and he will turn your kind of more plain Darksaber from Galaxy's Edge into a Darksaber fit for a bounty hunter. He actually has 2 pretty awesome different decals I'll show you here in the dark. This one is just the solid black blade, which looks really cool, and also check this out. We've got the lightning cracked blade. Look at this. There we go. You can see all those really fine cracks. But all those little cracks look so cool. Comment down below if you like A, retail, B, solid black, or C, cracked. So like I said, guys, there might be only one way to tell which one you think would be your favorite between these two $200-ish sabers, and that's going to take place in the dark with some sounds. Check this out, guys. Galaxy's Edge retail blade. It has a cool flicker to it, although unfortunately it doesn't quite reach the tip of the blade, as you can see. There you go. A little bit of a downer, The major difference between this and the Force FX is how strong the blade is. I think if I hold it like this, you can kind of get an idea. I mean, this is a really thick, firm plastic. It's pretty rigid. The Force FX is a little wobbly. You'll see in a minute. Now, maybe if this thing will stop making swing effects. Okay, so here's the retail blade, and here's what it looks like with the dark, solid black decal on it. Yeah, I think it looks way better, dude. Way better. One solid decal, you're good to go. And also, my friend let me borrow his Darksaber, and now we've got the cracks. Sweet. You got the awesome flicker. Yeah. And just like his saber, I mean, minimal movement. You're not going to really probably be holding a Darksaber without it moving, but very minimal movements is triggering the swing sound effects, which is kind of distracting me. The clash effect doesn't go off too easy, which is kind of cool. It has some pretty energetic, exciting swing sounds, which really kind of add to the fun of the saber. That's a mistake I think Disney made with the first round of Galaxy's Edge sabers, is that their swing sounds sound kind of slow and lazy, and it kind of sounds like the saber's moving really slow. And something else that kind of bums people out too is that only 2 of the 4 windows light up. What are you gonna do? All right, next is the Force FX Elite Darksaber, quite a bit heavier too, by the way, with the flimsy blade, wobble, 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 wobble. Flimsy blade, but a bit brighter. So many differences. Brighter blade. Thank you so much, Peter, for letting me borrow this, by the way. We've got blaster deflect. There's little lights of red popping up, and tip drag. Yeah. I see yellow and red comes about here on the blade. But as you can see, this Darksaber blade is a little bent. It's a little bit on the flimsy side, but it's got the solid black side, which is way more accurate to the animated series and The Mandalorian. Swing sound effects. Sounds great. Blast reflect. It does light up red. It's a little faint because maybe it's the type of lights and how they're a little different, how they string up one side and down the other. Nice loud sound, as long as your hand's not covering it. And flash on clash. So lights do flicker when you clash it, but as you can see on the blade, there is no flicker at all. It's just a solid white blade. Kind of enough to drive somebody crazy how everything is so different on these two. But if you've had to make this tough decision, leave a comment down below which one you chose, the Galaxy's Edge or the Force FX Elite. I have spoken. All right, now it's time to move on to the biggest and my only Darksaber that's RGB or baselit out of my collection. Now, I have Artsabers to thank for sponsoring my channel when I was just a tiny little channel with maybe like 1,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate their generosity. That's why I've stuck by their side for over 2 years. This is one of the first lightsabers they sent me, so this Darksaber's pretty big, but you can actually pick one of these up from Artsabers for less than both the Galaxy's Edge and the Force FX. Aha! Let's take a closer look. So by the way, this did not come painted black. I had a lightsaber weathering guy who unfortunately is not really in the business anymore, completely paint it black for me, because you can see from the button and the wear that a little bit of the paint has chipped off. I've used some permanent marker to paint right over it, looks fine. Here's a speaker. I'd have to say it is pretty loud. I like it. It has a very basic soundboard with, I don't know, 8 or 10 fonts on it. It does have smooth swing, and RGB, for all of you guys who are new to the saber community, means red, green, blue, but it also is a baselit saber. So there's one really bright light down here at the base, which causes all 4 windows to light up and emits through the blade. However, this blade is really thick and long here. Yes, Yoda, I know. Here's an idea of how the thickness of the blade, so the light does struggle a little bit to get from the base all the way to the tip of the blade. So, of course, designed from the Clone Wars Darksaber, but pretty fun to wield. I mean, it's not comfortable, it's very boxy, but a two-handed saber, and this thing wants to wreck stuff. Let me tell you, it wants to break stuff. This blade is so big and powerful. Let's check it out here in the dark. Oh man, yeah, it almost looks like it just stops being lit up right about here. Darksaber sounds, smooth swing. Oh, kind of dangerous. And I'm glad there's no younglings behind me. Might take them out. Nice loud sound, blaster deflect. Like the whole blade flashes red. Can you see that? Oh, lockup. There we go. So this has color change. You can make it any color you want. It's just a little tricky to make it just white. Either it'll have like a blue tint to it or a red tint. All the windows light up. That's pretty cool. We got that going. But you can kind of see how the light really does taper off. You know, this one again is a couple years old, super big, and definitely you can charge through younglings with this thing. Crazy long. And lastly, thank you Artsabers so much for sending me this screen accurate Neopixel Darksaber. This thing is freaking cool. Man, it's light, the blade is light, it feels great compared to these other sabers. Came loaded with sound fonts. So let's take a closer look at the screen accurate Darksaber. Bam, look at this guy. Looks just like the prop that's used in the Mandalorian. A picture of it right here. Looks super clean, feels great. It's a 2-button mechanism. This is the auxiliary button, and this is the power button. Up here, the blade is held with not just 1, but 2 retention screws. As you can see, it has very realistic, fine, and not overly done cracks in the blade, which is hard to find. And this little screw right here easily allows for the chassis to slide out so you can charge it and get to the SD card. And this is also a saber. I'm glad there's no chrome parts, there's nothing shiny. So you can really enjoy it and have fun with it and not worry about it scratching or touching anything. You can just set this down on the table, you know, and pick it back up. And the more wear it gets, I think the more in-universe look it has. I have spoken. This is the way. So just a quick recap. $30 for plastic, about $250 for the Galaxy's Edge and Force FX Elite, like a little over $200 for the baselit Darksaber, and this one, Neopixel, $4.99 from Artsabers. There'll be a link down below and also an extra discount code that don't forget to use that, and I really appreciate you supporting my channel. If you wanted to save 50 bucks, Artsabers also has a Xenopixel version of this and a baselit, I think, for about $400. So if you want to save a little bit of money, you can do that. But I've always been an advocate of like spending more and getting exactly what you want, being super happy with it. It really wouldn't be worth the extra 50 bucks that you'll forget about years from now, but you won't forget about how much you enjoyed. I think this has like 15 or 20 different fun sound fonts to explore, all having their music tracks, different colors, different blade profiles. So let's check out this Neopixel Darksaber in the dark.
You are fighting
against the blade. This is the way. Oh yeah, baby. Woo! Look at that blade. Oh. Oh man.
You are fighting against the blade.
No, I'm not. And it's got these red highlights when you hit blast deflect. Check this out. Gesture controls. Flash on clash. I like it. It shows up. It's bright. It's a nice accent color and really easy to see. Look at the blaster flex. It looks super cool. Yes. This blade does have a little bit of a blue hue to it, but definitely love the energy. All windows are lighting up. Bam, look at that. Blade looks awesome. But I mean, can you hear how good it sounds? The sound is coming right out of the pommel, not out of the side vents or anything. Yeah. Let's see. Lockup. I think that's tip drag. Whoa, crazy. Oh, lightning block. Yes. Woo. Dang, this thing is fun. Put that on ice if I were you. Alright guys, that's it. You're awesome for watching to the end of the video. Thank you so much. Share some Mandalorian love down in the comments, guys. Really appreciate it. Take care. Please be safe. And have an awesome Star Wars day. It's a little dangerous for you to hold, buddy. Maybe when you're bigger.